Whew. What I didn't tell you was, we ran out of scorpion powder, so I put in Carolina Reaper powder instead. That's way hotter than I expected it to be. I'm Drasko, this is Drasko's Hot Chicken. Let's make some hot chicken, baby. Oh my goodness. Grab yourself a beautiful free-range chicken breast, and it'll be something like this when you get it from the shops or your local butcher. And so what you want to do is you just want to make sure that you try and trim this so both ends are as even as possible. And the reason that's important is for the cooking time. So you don't want one end to be still raw and the other end to be overcooked. Just lay your chicken breast flat, and what I do is I sort of start from the middle. So the tail bit, you don't want to trim really anything off that end because that's pretty thin as it is. What I like to do, I just like to just take the end off. And then what I do, I start somewhere in the middle, depending on the size of your breast, and you just run your knife across the thick end of the breast. It'll sort of look like something like this. Now this is still too big. So what I like to do is I just like to run my knife just across and to the side, keeping with just the natural shape of the breast. It should fit from the top of your fingers to the bottom of your palm. That's sort of like a nice size guide. And as you can see, it's not too wide, it's not too long, and the most important part is it's not too thick. I would say this is about 2 centimeters thick. So that breast will cook a lot more evenly compared to that. So the next part is we brine our breast. And in our brine solution, it's super simple. It's water, salt, and brown sugar. Now, the reason we make a brine solution is essentially to sort of force as much moisture into the chicken breast as possible. All we do is we place the trimmed chicken breast in the brine solution, we leave that overnight in the fridge, and it'll be ready to go the next day. That brine solution that your chicken is in, you're also going to use that to make your dry dredge mixture. Now, what we have in here is plain flour, tapioca flour, and rice flour. Now, a lot of people will just dump their chicken breast straight into this mixture, but I'm going to show you what we do at Drasko's, which makes it extra crunchy. You just start layering in and dropping in your brine solution into the flour, and then with your hands, just very simply, just start working the flour in between your fingers. And what we're doing is we're creating what we call all these little crispy bits. Don't be afraid to put a lot of brine solution in here. I would say anywhere from like 8 to 10 tablespoons of brine solution. So I've been working the flour now for about a minute, and as you can see, there's still lots of craggly bits on all my fingers. You want all of these craggly bits into your flour because that is what's going to create an extra crunchy bit of hot chicken. Here is our chicken breast that's been brining overnight. And all we do is just place it in the flour and just give it a little toss around. We toss it around at least 6-7 times because you just want to make sure that the chicken breast is covered in flour from top to toe. We also like to push in the flour a little bit as well. Look at that. Look at those crispy bits. You can see them already. We place it on a little rack, and we're going to place that in the fridge for about an hour. You could even do it 2-3 hours. And what that does is it helps the flour set onto the chicken breast. Almost creates like a little flour glue. So this beautiful bit of chicken breast has been setting in the fridge for about an hour, hour and a half. What we're going to do next is we're just going to dip it back into our brine solution and then back into the flour mixture that we prepared earlier. Now, this is super important just to make sure that you're pressing the flour into the breast. Not too much pressure because you'll probably flatten the breast too much. Covering the breast, pressing the flour down and flipping it. We do that about 8 or 9 times. A lot of people will take the breast or the piece of chicken out of this flour. But what we've noticed is that we get a much better product if we actually just leave the chicken breast in the flour itself. An hour to 2 hours is perfect. 2 to 4 hours is fine as well. So I'm just going to go and pop this in the fridge. So I've guarded this recipe with my life for the last 5 years. Life's too short and you guys need to know how to make this. So we've got salt, icing sugar, garlic and onion powder, smoked and sweet paprika, black pepper powder, cayenne powder. This is where you can make your own variation depending on how hot you want it. So at the moment, this base recipe sits around miles. It's not very hot. Now at Drasko's for our hot level, we use habanero powder and red scorpion powder. So red scorpion's top 5 hottest chilies in the world. So it's enough to ruin your day. And very simply, just grab a whisk and just start combining everything together. Now already, I can smell the chilies. And after 5 years, I can tell you that it does not get any easier. Woo! Oh, there we go. I don't want this to ruin the rest of my day. Now, the all-important taste test. All right, so what far out. What I didn't tell you was we ran out of scorpion powder, so I put in Carolina Reaper powder instead. That's way hotter than I expected it to be. Oh my goodness. There's your beautiful seasoning. Let's fry some chicken. This is always the most exciting part for me. I'm just gonna very gently just hold the chicken, the tail end, just for a couple of seconds, just so the oil can meditate with the breast. And we just drop that breast in. I'm gonna put my 7-minute timer on. So 7 minutes is normally the magic number. So the temperature that we want to get to is 180 degrees Celsius. So if your chicken's floating like this, that's fine. All you do is just give it a little turn and just use your tongs or whatever you've got just to hold that chicken under the oil, just so everything cooks nice and even. Oh, look at that beauty. Oh yes, so you can see all those beautiful crispy bits. Remember we had that tail end, the thin end, and the thicker end. So we always just temp the thicker end because that's gonna have the most chicken. Just wanna make sure your chicken is temping anywhere above 69, 70 degrees. And that is fried chicken. And I'm gonna show you how to turn this into hot chicken. We based our chicken in something we call yummy oil. It's actually made with melted butter, brown sugar, salt, smoked paprika, sweet paprika, and kelp powder. Oh, I'm getting hungry just looking at this baby. So next step is my old faithful, the hot spice. And then you just cover that gorgeous breast with your spice mix. It's now time to construct our hot chicken sando. We like to be very, very generous with our comeback sauce here. Then we layer it up with these beautiful pickles. Next is our vinegar slaw. Place that on the bottom bun. Oh, I'll never get sick of this. And that, my friends, is Drasko's Nashville hot chicken sando.